gaming bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here for the BTS production. It's Na'Vi facing off against Team Empire. Game number 3. I'm Lyrical, going to be joined as well by Tsunami, and I believe that your voice should be sounding sparkly, clean, and wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'll keep track of the stream just to make sure that I'm extremely loud.
Oh God, that was creepy as all hell, but that's wonderful. I love to hear it. Hope that you're having a good time. So we've had some interesting shenanigans go on. Game number 1, Na'Vi were able to take it. It felt like it was a little bit back and forth at times, and there were maybe a couple of points where they were taking some engagements that weren't completely clean, and they still ended up winning the game. Game number 2, all Empire all day. And it was just a dismantling in the most severe sense of the word. We're seeing a different set of heroes here. What are you thinking about this matchup?
Coddle had been banned out, I believe, in both games, so I'm assuming that Empire is very familiar with the hero. They like it a lot. Na'Vi felt confident leaving it alone, and Empire actually banning out the IO this time. They ran it in Game 1, possibly may have feared that Na'Vi had a strategy of their own up their sleeve, but I'm surprised this is the first time we're seeing Sand King, and Sand King was not banned out at all during either of the games, which surprises me because he is a favorite in other scenes. I'm not too sure about CIS Dota, but he is one of the fiercest offlaners, and I don't know why. I don't know why Caustic has reached the point that it has, but man, what a spell.
It's great. I mean, it's one of the only remaining unique attack modifiers left on a hero with, like, you know, orbs and everything else being changed around. But it is still incredibly strong. And it was Na'Vi, if I'm not mistaken, which was the first team that really brought it back around and into prominence for that offlane position. And I remember leading up to TI, this was the way that they were winning all of their matches. It was this combination that you saw later as well out of Secret, and you saw out like when they were going through their qualifying stage. stage leading up to TA when they still looked really strong. And then you saw also other teams adapt it, which was stick, a Sand King alone in one lane or another strong offlaner, and then switch everybody else and go like aggro. So you'd have a winning one-on-one matchup, and then you'd have to outplay your opponents in the other. And it was just incredibly strong, and it feels like Na'Vi are now trying to go back to their roots a little bit after that rough game number 2.
Yeah, game number 2, any 17-minute GG is gonna throw a team off their balance a little bit, and they did well in game 1, like we said, even though it was a little bit closer than game 2. Na'Vi is still, they've got more than enough stability that I feel that really, as long as they're drafting on comfort heroes, they'll be just fine. I don't think Dandy was too comfortable on the Storm Spirit in game 2. I personally haven't seen him play it in a while. I know it's kind of in his wheelhouse, but it's a hero that you really need to keep consistent practice on. So he looked a little bit shaky on it. Hopefully hopefully Dandy will draft himself a little bit more comfort mid hero.
Yeah, and that is something that's worth noting, is that it's Dendi drafting here. Traditionally, it was Seneko who was doing it as the captain, but I guess that they're just deciding to switch things up a little bit, or maybe it doesn't matter because they all talk about the picks together anyways. But whatever the case, he's the one drafting for them. We got G drafting for Team Empire, and it's going to be an Ursa picked up. Another one of those heroes that it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that he might just follow the Juggernaut whichever lane he's in.
Most likely. I would like to see that, assuming that the Sand King isn't going to be doing the same thing with the Ursa. Based on what I'm seeing right now, musical lanes are definitely going to be on the table. Ursa is even good against the Sand King himself, though, assuming that this Coddle invests in some true sight to make sure that no Sandstorm shenanigans take place. But Ursa is an amazing hero, especially when synergized with this Chakra Magic and Shadow Shaman as the third pick for Na'Vi.
Now we're going to the way back right now. Very interesting. And now this is another one of those heroes that traditionally Juggernaut has struggled to break high ground. Just throw a Shadow Shaman into your draft. Why not? Make it happen. This feels good to me. I like what we're seeing so far. The problem that I would say is that they still could run into issues with just being overrun by Team Empire. If Shadow Shaman is able to get the initiation, it's great. But if like Ursa jumps onto him, it's still a little bit scary to me.
Yeah, especially because the way I'm seeing it right now, this Shadow Shaman is going to be a hard 5. The chances of him getting like a Blink Dagger or really anything beyond Arcane Boots I'm finding very, very unlikely. And that's a big issue, especially against Coddle, because Serpent Wards are expensive. That is no cheap spell. Once maxed, it costs 600 mana to cast your Serpent Wards. And yeah, it is great for breaking high ground because Coddle's Illuminate, it's not going to damage the wards at all. And, Juggernaut's just going to be able to Blade Fury through it as well. So Na'Vi does have relatively competent pushing strats, but that's assuming that all their heroes even are alive to get to the tower in the first place.
Yeah, and that's definitely the problem. You think about it as like, how is that going to end up working? Are they going to be able to get even a creep wave up to there the first time around? And I think that's why Coddle has been somewhat highly raised in the CIS scene, because it's just fight for CIS Dota, and they don't really, and I mean, maybe that's an overgeneralization at this point, but it is at least something that we've seen happen in these games, and less emphasis on tower pushing. So Coddle naturally just rises up in that type of Dota. Now Shadow Shaman, maybe the reserve answer. We'll talk about that more later. For now, it's the Bat Rider and the Enchantress also getting picked. Do you think we're going to see another Dendi Bat Rider?
Seeing as how much work he did on it in game 1, yeah, I would hope that it's a Dendi Bat Rider, because I can't really see very many other mids fitting into this lineup. It's like Sand King is going to be manning the offlane. It's a dire Na'Vi, so Bat Rider jungle isn't really as good as it is a Radiant Bat Rider. So hopefully it's a mid Bat Rider, and Na'Vi just drafts himself. Hopefully another support maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely a lot of possibilities there, and we'll see where they opt to go. Bounty Hunter is the last ban for Team Empire. Now Na'Vi taking their time to figure out what they want to go up against, as they will have not the last pick. So that is something that's maybe a little bit frustrating as well. I don't know, is there anything that you feel like Na'Vi are really missing right now that they could use in their draft?
I do like the ban of a bounty hunter by Empire. I think some roamer would be very good because Rasta is not like he's an extremely slow hero. All of his spells are incredibly expensive, and he has two builds. Either you go the max Ether Shock build, which is more oriented towards pushing and zoning out offlaners, or you go this high CC build with the shackles and the hex. Most frequently I see max Ether Shock because the damage is just too good to pass up, and Enchantress being as squishy of a hero as she is, Ether Shock is going to mess her up substantially. So I think Navi needs something. So another support is what I would like, and I guess Darkseer fills that
Huh.
utility gap pretty well.
And so then, what?
Well,
What?
okay, so the
It's a
reason I said the
Sand
support,
King?
I think it's still an offlane Sand King, and they'll just maybe be alternating between the jungle, the Darkseer and the Sand King, between jungle and offlane, the two of them. Or they could honestly just send both Darkseer and Sand King into the offlane, just put an Ion Shell on him, go back to the jungle, do your own thing, let Sand King stand his own ground against the Ursa.
I really don't know if I like that though, because like now you're running into a situation where, sure you have some outspam to be able to deal with it, but like with an Enchantress fourth pick and an Ursa, they're gonna want to get aggressive, and like if Coddle gets an Ags, I don't know. I'm worried about their CC for an Ursa who can just like what's their answer if he jumps on you? You've got maybe Burrow Strike to try and create that separation, but they're gonna jump in on I don't know. I'm concerned. Maybe I'm wrong. I could just be dumb, but I feel like Team
Well,
Empire's draft is really strong already.
I agree to an extent, but all the heroes on Navi, except for the Rasta, kind of have their ways to deal with it, because Ursa doesn't have a stun when he comes in. So Sand King's going to be able to Burrow Strike or Sandstorm out. Juggernaut can Blade Fury out. Rasta's going to be, fried chicken to this Ursa. Batrider kind of is okay with Flame Break, but then Darkseer, you can surge all four of them. So in terms of dealing with the Ursa, kiting is sometimes more valuable than just stopping him, really.
I really like this last pick though, also from Empire, because now kiting is going to be less of an opportunity because you've got duel, and probably going to be able to do pretty well in lane since you can just purge off the stacks of sticky napalm.
True.
I don't know.
This is kind of reminiscent of Game 1, though, with three cores to an extent. Legion Commander and Slaughter were the most... in Game 1, Empire had 3 strength cores. This time, Ursa is maybe a little bit more well-rounded as an agility core, but it's still a very greedy draft from Empire. And you talked about, maybe this Coddle manages to get himself an Ag. In this game, King R is going to be broke all game long, and Enchantress is going to be taking any extra farm that the 3 cores aren't taking. So, assuming that Empire is able to have the early game go their way, then yes, Navi's going to have a ton of trouble. But that's what they were hoping in Game 1, and it did not work out.
Well, it looks like they are going to be running at least somewhat support Sand King. He did pick up boots first, so might get aggressive in one of these lanes, but at least for now it's going to be the Darkseer down their bottom. And it looks like Ditya Ra is going to be up top here on the Juggernaut. So I'm still not sure if I love Navi's draft. I feel like in the same way that you have a greedy Tricore here coming out from Empire, I feel like Navi with a support Sand King are maybe playing it a little bit too greedy themselves. But
it's true.
Time will
And
tell.
this game, Coddle is there to make sure that if you are getting just sieged constantly, in this game, Empire does have better ways of discouraging pushes than they did in Game 1. In Game 1, they were really all in on, we're going to fight you until you die. This game, Empire has a little bit more insurance if things don't go their way. But I'm not that unhappy with Navi's draft right now.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see how it all works out. I'm pretty sure that this is a lot, again, going to come down to how well Miposhka plays this Enchantress and what she's able to get out of each of these lanes, as it looks like they're just going to be setting up to trade off runes. I don't imagine that Ditya moves in here to try and snag this one. Although, well, as I say that, yeah, get the hell out of here. We don't want you here.
No, he's not. And it looks like it's going to be Slardar soloing the safe lane as Ghost Stick. And I guess Legion Commander is going to be in the jungle, and Coddle and Ursa are going to be doing... It's not like an aggressive duo, you can't really call it that, but they're duo laning the off lane with a farming core.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting start to it, certainly. It looks like G is just going to be, at least for the first couple of ways, going solo against Dendi, not wanting to extend. Oh, don't worry, nobody saw that one, G, you're fine. But bottom lane, yeah, you talked about it a little bit, and it looks almost as if Empire is trying to do what Na'Vi used to do, but General should have a really good time in this lane, I would imagine. Only the poor man's shield, and I guess some salve, but might run out of regen at a certain point on that Slardar.
Yeah, I'm assuming that I actually misspoke. I thought that Legion Commander was going to be in the jungle, but no, she's actually played by G. And Ursa going down in the top lane.
I saw that bar just drop really quickly. I shot up there. It's like, wow, all right, yeah, you're just going to go down and get killed off. Shackles into spin is pretty good. Oh, Na'Vi, they found another, and just like that, 2 kills. Empire faltering early.
So the reason they decided to put Ursa and Caudle in this lane is because, well, it's exactly what you just saw happen. Slardar would have a lot of trouble dealing with Shackles into spin because that setup is amazing. And so they decided that, well, I'm sure that Ursa Caudle will be able to handle it better than Slardar would. It turns out they're not. And now Seneco's going in for another wraparound. They're going to find King R, but he doesn't really want King R. He wants Aloha Dance. Needs to be careful, though. It gets both, actually. But art style not really confident to go in. Now might be a turnaround as Enchantress has come in. Yeah, Seneco goes down.
That's the pretty easy combo there, and I mean it seemed a little bit weird Empire playing that far forward before Mapushka is able to move in, and now with these 2 creeps here, they have the disable that they need, they have the damage that they need. This is much more how I think Empire wanted to play this top lane, and those first couple kills, it might be a little bit difficult for them to replicate that again. We'll have to see how it works, but especially having that Dark Troll Summoner there, the Ensnare going through BKB is really good against the Jug.
It is, but I'm surprised the Na'Vi didn't go in after Seneco got that 2-man Burrow Strike, because Rasta had enough mana for Shackles, Ditchira had enough mana for Blade Fury, and I believe that Empire, the Caudle and the Ursa both just got 1 additional level after they had died, so it's not like they were that much tankier than they were a few seconds ago.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I guess just wanting to play things a little bit more close to the chest. We have a Mud Golem again. We saw how impactful that could be in the previous game, as Artstyle and Ditchy are just going to try and dole out whatever damage they can, but it looks like they're going to try and chase down Snako. Sandstorm's away.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, you know, they're going in Mana Leak on Artstyle. Goes for the Hex right before, but he's dead, most likely.
Taking a lot of damage. Needs another one to get it. Not going to be able to find that last touch, but they do have the spin. Trying to take down Aloha Dance. He's in some trouble. Jukes to the right, but will be brought down. Ditchia finds another one. And no kill going against the Shadow Shaman. Might just want to run into some neutrals here.
I'm surprised that this Ursa didn't go for, I guess he spent most of his gold. I think he bought the Windlace after he died. Had he had the Windlace earlier, he may have been able to get that kill. Or if he had gone for something like an Orb of Venom either, but I guess they thought that Chakra Magic would have stunned him out for long enough, and this is a very, very action-packed top lane.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even really looking at the other ones. Maybe I should, because Dendi's taken a bit of a beating as well. But it's just very back and forth, and it feels like, you know, when Maposhka's in lane, they can find kills on Empire. Whenever that's not the case, they got to be so careful. But in the meantime, looks like General should continue to dominate the CS boards. 31-2 versus the 18-0. General is just having the time of his life.
Yeah, this is the advantage of being a Darkseer who has to deal with no other heroes other than one melee core, and he's just, you know, the whole Radiant jungle is his to play with right now.
Oh, man.
and G going in on Dendi.
Mid, trying to find it. He's not gonna
No
be
duel
able to...
yet, though. He has a double damage rune, but without duel, you can't really expect to kill Batrider.
Well, but it also is showing how strong this matchup is for G. Like 26-6 versus the 14-1, and he can just continually bully Dendi around because he can take off the stacks there. And now maybe in a little bit of trouble though. He needs to get the Presley attack off. Doesn't come in time, and with 6 stacks, that is going to be a kill. Oh man, unfortunate there. And Artstyle now going to get ran down a little bit by Maposhka. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to find that kill. Top lane, there's some pressure onto Ditchia, but with no control, they aren't going to be able to find that one either.
I think Dendi is the only Batrider that I've seen to actually put more than 1 point into Flamebreak early on. Only put a single point into Firefly, and is alternating between Napalm and Flame Break. And like you said, it is a difficult lane for him with this Legion Commander being able to purge it off, but really nice rotation timing by Na'Vi, especially right before G hits 6, which he has duel now, so Dendi should be careful.
Yeah. One rotation and they'd be able to find it. And he's playing it a bit safer now. As we see a wrap around onto mid, Seneko gets the Burrow Strike. They need to find it, vacuum back, and that's a kill. Darkseer picks it up. So Na'Vi just kind of pulling them all around the map, and they have really been making a great use of this laning stage.
You may look back on this game and think, like, did we give the Darkseer too much space early on? Because, like I had said before, kiting is amazing against pretty much all of Empire. And that's going to be a big concern. Like, Aloha Dance isn't getting a great start on this Ursa in the offlane. He's trading, I guess you could say that, but he's 0-2 right now. So his lane is doing well, relatively, but he's not doing that great, and he might be doing worse. Artstyle going for the wraparound, and Ichira has 3 points in Blade Fury and 0 points to anything else right now.
I don't know if they can actually find him, though. They're going to jump in, and, well, they're going to be able to get the shackles off, trying to turn this back around. Dichira is there as well, and Dendi finds the kill. Or rather, I should say, the Shadow Shaman finds the kill. They get the stomp onto Dendi to keep him at bay, but they traded the Jug for it. And Seneko has showed up as well. King Arm maybe a little bit outside his element as well. He's going to be pushed back by the Flame Break, and they do end up finding the Coddle. So a 2-for-1 exchange, very awkward. But you talk about it, like the kills are going Navi's way. You start to look at the CS, it's still into the favor of Empire. It's kind of relatively even, despite the fact that the kill score is so much into the favor of Na'Vi.
It is, and especially because, like we said, Empire has a very core greedy lineup. Oh man, and Ursa getting a kill on the Darkseer.
Oh my god,
Sardar came in with a crush and was able to get that. It was well played by Aloha Dance to actually switch lanes after he had died up top, and that was quite a bit of gold for this Ursa, who's been, as I said before, getting really hurt in his offlane.
Alright, well, we'll see how well they're able to come back off the back of it. I mean, it certainly helps for the Ursa to, get that amount of that amount of bounty off of the Darkseer, who's basically just been free farming down in the bottom lane. And it looks like towards mid they might try and go. No. Bottom lane is where the action is. Coddle shackled. General's going to try and chase him down. They've got the Ion Shell, and that should be enough to find the kill. Nicely played.
General is level 8 now, about to go face first. He doesn't have any points in wall. He's only going to be able to surge one person. He surges himself. Artstyle is weeping to himself. Oh, nice Hex, though.
He's still going to end up paying for it. They get the Burrow Strike onto 2. Not enough to save the day, and G was looking for the duel, but doesn't come quite in time. So, at the end of the day, it's still a relatively even exchange. You get 1 for 1 there, and, the Coddle went down, but they take the Shadow Shaman in return.
Yeah, so even though Na'Vi does have like a pretty substantial advantage right now, you have to keep in mind that their only core is Dichira Juggernaut. Like, even the Sand King is a hard support Sand King right now. Well, it has a Soul Ring, but I don't think you're going to see an Ag. If anything, you may see an Aether Lens come out next. I mean, he went for Tranquil Boots, so he has some options. Maybe he goes for the Blink Dagger, but it's going to take a while for him to get that. Really, this Juggernaut is the primary damage dealer, and it's going to stay that way nearly all game long.
Any kills on him are definitely worth it if they can find him. But it looks like for now, Empire more content to try and build towards those first couple of items. And, if G gets a decent timing on the Blink Dagger, you start to think about the way that they're able to find the burst damage after the fact. It could definitely start looking good for them, but it's not the same type of Legion that we saw in game number 1. It was getting a lot of duel.
So many Mud Golems.
Yeah,
like 1,000 Mud Golems.
Stacks trying to find a kill onto Dendi, and they don't want to overextend for that one. Looks like they're just going to take the Wildwing Ripper in exchange.
Sand King is level 6. He's sitting on his 6th skill point right now. Might actually go for the Epicenter. Like, this Sand King is a build that I haven't seen in a really long time, but Na'Vi, as you said, were the first ones to ground break offlane Sand King. Maybe they'll be one of the teams that can bring support Sand King back as well.
Oh, Ditya spots out G. They do have a jump forward if they want, but Invis rune for G is going to keep him alive. They can think about going back in on this if they want now. They do have Omni Slash, and there's the Mud Golem into duel. Flame Break back, still alive. Burrow Strike, they get the kill regardless. Snako going to be mana leak. They are going to pull back the Legion Commander though, taking a good bit of damage, able to get off the press. The attack, and Snako is going to fall in turn. So they take down 2 with the dual damage to the Legion. And that's the first one.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen a 4-man Shard Golem army before, and it was difficult to see because the team fight was, I guess you saw a lot of stuff flying around. I was seeing a lot of rocks being thrown and a lot of damage being dealt by all of them as well, and they were able to get the first duel victory onto Legion Commander. It was only a level 6 duel, so only 10 damage given, but G is working his way to that Blink Dagger, as you said, and Ghost Stick is going to be very close behind him on this Slardar.
Well, does feel like right now Na'Vi still can get aggressive. Like, they've got the mechanism up on General, and Snako is, like you said, has the option. Well, like, he doesn't have the option anymore to go back for an Epicenter. Did opt to just continue to get those points in the Burrow Strike and the Sandstorm. But I don't know, it's kind of weird now because like you need to fight, I feel like, around Omni Slash and then also kind of Lasso, but Dendi is going back for the Veil build again. Can you do this aggressive timing, like, since they have the mechanism now, or do they need to wait for that big item on bat?
I'm not convinced yet that he's going to go the Veil build. Only one Nil Talisman doesn't have me sold quite yet because I don't think that the Veil build is that good this game. Like,
okay.
Shaman isn't dealing that much damage, and once you get into team fights, it's going to be Serpent Ward damage, not really Ether Shock damage, which he did opt to max Ether Shock. Oh man, and gets hit by an Illuminate. But still, it's not enough magic damage to warrant a Veil build, in my opinion. I would rather see a Blink Dagger on Dendi or a Drum.
We'll see if that's the route they decide to go. They do get that Blink Dagger now up on the Legion Commander, and if you do find a quick duel with Ursa in the area, having any of those Shard Golems that we've seen also come in, it's going to be a lot of damage very quick. And well, moving forward, that's Dendi smoked up.
He sees King R trying to kill this ward. Snako gonna get the stun off.
All right, this could be a big counterplay if they're able to find it. No Epicenter as of yet. King R is going to be pulled back in. They actually get the lasso onto Aloha Dance, drop the wards as well, but Bat Rider's already killed off the Kato, and now the Shackle's just out of range. They need to pull him into those wards, but it doesn't even matter. They find the kill in the end. So 2 brought down, and that is not the blink reveal that they wanted. Legion having to retreat out of on the tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, over on the other side, they found Miposhka, but it might be Ditya Ra that goes down, slowed down, and Chant does get the spin away. So Ditya Ra might be able to survive through this, going to go back and rejoin his team, but there's the duel, and they find it. Nicely played.
If he had survived for a little bit longer, Snako had the mana for an Epicenter Burrow Strike, I think. No, actually, no, he would have had just one or the other, but they may have been able to continue turning it around, but a little bit unfortunate positioning by that Juggernaut, and like we had said earlier, every kill on this Juggernaut makes a big difference, and if it's a dual victory, that's an even bigger difference.
Oh yeah, good stuff indeed. And Navi's still pretty far ahead as far as the individual net worths, but it's not so much so that it's completely changing the dynamic of these team fights. I think that both teams can still fight against each other, and it's kind of just going to come down to who has that better initiation and vision advantage, of course. But 3,000 gold lead for the moment. Blink Dagger now completed on the Slardar after the tier 1 tower goes down, and I imagine we're just waiting for the Ursas to come up as well.
Yeah, and Bat Rider completes his Blink Dagger as well, so it turns out that Dendi realized he was a little bit too far behind, actually ended up selling his Null Talisman to get this Blink Dagger, which is going to be necessary. And it's going to be useful as well, because Aloha Dance went for a Mask of Madness on this Ursa.
In towards mid. They're looking for it. The jump forward. They find Ditya Ra again. He's in some trouble, and they bring him down. Again, they kill off that Jug, and you talked about how important he was for their damage output this game. If he's getting killed off, it's a huge problem.
Art style. has half of an Invis rune left, but Empire's not interested. They're just going to go in for this Roche, and there's nothing that Na'Vi can do about this. It's an Ursa by himself. You give an Ursa as good of a start as he's had. No,
they found Leposhka, able to catch onto them, and that's Enchantress out of the fight. They pull up Aloha Dance to the top side, and Burrow Strike through. He's still controlled, and his Blink Dagger is disabled. Vacuum Wall onto 3. Down in the low ground as Batrider kills off the Ursa on the high ground, and now Artstyles found the Coddle Guide. They're dismantling them. That's not Coddle Guide, it's just regular Coddle. It looks like they're going to end up getting out of there. But they dropped the wards and were able to catch the Enchantress on the stairway. So a good way to start off the fight there.
That was not the best positioning from... Oh, they're going for a duel onto Dendi. That's another duel victory.
Burrow Strike turning around, doesn't have the mana right now for the Epicenter, but with the spin from Ditya, they do also have an Omni Slash, and that should be a kill. Man, Na'Vi have been playing this exceptionally well.
They played it well, but Empire kind of played that a little bit poorly. Legion Commander should have really been there in the pit with Ursa, because what ended up happening is that Batrider just went for the lasso and just dragged Ursa onto the high ground. Ursa started TPing off of this cliff, but then got canceled by a Burrow Strike, and then after that, there's nothing he could do. It was just a Mask of Madness phase boost Ursa. What really should have happened is LC should have been there, expecting that Batrider would be coming in, and just immediately press the attack and take the lasso off, but instead, Legion was more concerned about a rotation coming in from behind the pit, maybe from the Sand King. Ultimately, if Empire wanted to go for that Roche, they needed better vision. They had no vision. They were a little bit too cocky with that Roche attempt, and man, did it cost them.
Empire going to go back in again and going to recall in G, which means that they spot... Oh, no, they recall them in as they're walking into the pit. So now Na'Vi realize this is happening. Can they stop it?
Sand King has Blink Dagger Epicenter.
This is really bad. They might be in trouble. General's walking forward. No blink for him, but they crush onto 2. They were able to pick up the Aegis on Aloha Dance, but able to control him as well. That is the wards drop down into the pit. A lot of damage being dealt. Aloha Dance might just go down. He isn't going to be able to kill off Sanekyo. Is going to die finally to the crush from the Slardar. So with 2 already down, they might end up losing more. Well, inside the pit, they've been able to lasso Aloha Dance up to the high ground again. He's never been able to hit anybody for the past couple of minutes, and Dendi is going to kill him a second time while he's stuck on a cliff. Get that man a Force Staff. Oh, God.
He needs a Force Staff for sure, but Na'Vi needs to be a little bit more confident. I don't know why they played that so tentatively. Only King R might be in some trouble. General going in, gets mana leaked, but grieves to purge it off, and down goes the Coddle.
Oh, God. I mean,
so they had, I didn't even realize this, but Artstyle managed to pick up his Blink Dagger on the Rasta as well. So they had Blink Dagger wards on Rasta. They had Blink Dagger Epicenter on Saneko, but they didn't use the Epicenter. They only used the Burrow Strike, and wards were dropped, but Ursa was just tanking through all of it. He managed to kill the Rasta before his Aegis timed out, and almost killed Saneko as well, because he had this one sentry ward near the pit, making sure that they could see through Sandstorm. And I mean, Na'Vi does manage to take off the Aegis and get the kill on Ursa afterwards, but that should have gone a lot better for them.
And what a weird instance there, too, because, like, you take a look at the way that fight went, and it feels like Empire always lacking one thing. And you can see that Coddle is going for... I'm assuming that this is going to be a force. They might go back for Ags on him, but I really think that they need these other heroes, support heroes, to help out this Ursa, because he has been just bullied around the map by the Batrider consistently. He has his Blink Dagger now, so he can get the jump onto somebody, but if Dendi's counter-initiating, it is just a huge problem.
It is, but this is the advantage of Empire's draft right now. Dendi can only lasso one target, and G has been quietly working his way up to being the second highest net worth after this Darkseer, which I have no idea how Darkseer managed that, but G is hot on his tail, so sure, you may be able to lasso the Ursa, and I mean, he has a Mask of Madness blink. He's almost asking to draw aggro, while G and Ghost Stick just mess up the backlines of Na'Vi, because all of the Na'Vi supports are just so squishy.
Oh my God, this is a scary moment right here for Empire. The rest of Na'Vi was smoked up. They spot out now where everybody is, and it doesn't look like Empire have vision in the area where Na'Vi are going to walk through. It looks like they're actually not going to be going. They're waiting for them to come back in, I guess? They don't
still
see
hidden.
this. Yeah,
they don't know.
Very weird. And Empire have to be scratching their heads at this point, but
Both teams are like, okay, eventually they're going to come up on this high ground. Ghostic is like, they're going to come up on this high ground eventually. And Navi's like, they're going to come up to their Ancients eventually.
oh, they spot him out. Seneko Burrow Strike misses. There's the wards drop down. Again, a really bad initiation. 3% crush. The spins isn't enough. Vacuum wall onto the side of Empire, taking a ton of damage. That's Ursa gone. They crush again, just trying desperately to escape, and they actually managed to Mana Leak stun the Sand King in the midst of his epicenter. What are these team fights?
I don't really know how Slardar was able to get such amazing positioning and yet still come out even in the fight. That was a 3-man crush, but I guess if you can manage to kill the Ursa and the LC, then there really isn't that much damage left. I had mentioned Bat Rider can only lasso one target, but I guess in the meantime, this Blink Dagger Shadow Shaman can hex and shackle the other target, and if there's no damage on Empire, they can't really finish off the team fight once this Legion Commander and Ursa are dead.
Yeah, it is feeling just further and further away. Like the team who's gonna make the least mistakes in this one is gonna win. It's feeling like both sides are a little bit flustered. I'm not exactly sure to chalk that up to, but it's come to the tune of, you know, relatively an even exchange so far. Big items that are gonna be online soon. You got a BKB for Slardar, and I guess that they're gonna try and move up and take this top tier 1 tower. With the rest of Navi porting in though, this could be a bit of a bad one for them. They vacuum. Oh, that was a little bit awkward.
G's getting recalled, and this is a tough tier 1 defense. They have Epicenter on cooldown.
They know where Seneko is. They are ready to jump almost immediately. Ghostic finds him, dueled up, and, well, maybe going to be brought down. They do find that kill. Maposhka actually dealing damage in this fight, and they got the healing ward down as well. Well, Dendi going to be able to control Aloha Dance, not really dealing enough damage to him, and now chasing down Dendi. Bat Rider's gone. Crush the continued chase. It's going to pull him back in with the vacuum wall, but, oh, last second, Artstyle finds the kill with that Ether Shock. Still trying to chase down Ditchiara. The last proc from that impetus is able to find the kill on the Jug. So 3 dead, and you said it, a hard tier 1 fight indeed.
I wouldn't have gone for that. Na'Vi, the only reason that they came out even in that fight near the Radiant Ancients was because all of their cooldowns were ready. They had, actually Epicenter didn't end up doing that much that fight, but they had Wall, which was very important, and they had the roster wards dropped, which was also very important. The wards only came off cooldown near the tail end of that fight just now, and so Artstyle was able to get that kill onto Slardar, but that's 1 kill for 2 cores, and that's not a good trade at all.
And I mean, they got the tier 1 tower as well. There hasn't been a lot of sieging going on this game. It's been much more the fight style, sitting at almost 40 kills at this point in time in the game. And oh man, G wants this in a bad way. There's the jump forward. Seneko, get over here. We got a party. They get the kill and some more dual damage. 86 now for G in the pocket.
You would never expect that kind of positioning. Not only was Coddle in the vicinity to have a sentry ward placed down, but of course the Legion Commander is there. Of course she's gonna blink duel you, because that's just what bad luck is. And Seneko handing another duel victory. This is now 86 duel damage on G.
This is a problem and a half. Aloha Dance gonna be able to take down this tower, and well, it looks like General is trying to start up this engagement. Problem is, neither team really has that great a vision around where this fight is probably going to take place, so I think that Dendi will remain king and might be able to... Oh, he doesn't want to jump onto Aloha Dance. Too scary.
Too scary in the fact that this is the positioning that I wanted to see earlier on. I wanted to see G ready, locked and loaded to put that press the attack on whoever gets lassoed, and if G gets lassoed, that's fine. The Ursa and the Slardar will both blink onto the Bat Rider and just wipe him out, because even though Dendi has his Blink Dagger, he doesn't have his Force Staff yet, so he can get into a fight, he can't really get out of it.
Well, they dropped a ward over here, so Mike gonna have a little bit of a vision advantage, Team Empire, but it looks like the wraparound. I think Empire know exactly what's going on, but they're still able to trap in one. A lot of damage, the huge crush from Ghostic, and there's the Hurricane Pike coming into play. Another 2-person stun. G is gonna die, but still Ghostic did so much in that fight. Can they find the kill on Aditya Ra? Aloha Dance brings him in and brings him down. Now Maposhka, a second Hurricane Pike. He's decided that he maybe doesn't want to stick around too much longer, as they have found a double kill for the Enchantress. Darkseer drop in, and Na'Vi got wrecked.
Oh, so apparently I didn't realize this, but Team Empire has a Ravage on an 8-second cooldown.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Yeah, Ghostic did so much work that fight. And it was all set up again. Like, the Empire Vision, they dropped 2 separate sets of wards here to make sure that they had vision and saw where Na'Vi were coming. And so they just brought Ghostic to the back and waited for the great counter initiation play. Like, great team fight awareness and movement from Empire.
Yeah, and even though Legion Commander did die very early on, and Ursa died a little bit later, Ursa was able to stay alive long enough to make sure that the Na'Vi supports and Juggernaut both got down to a low enough HP that Enchantress with this fully completed Hurricane Pike and Coddle with just these insane positionings for his Illuminate is able to clean up. Because initially I was saying that Sardar is not going to be that much of a damage dealer, and he's still not. He's basically a walking crush, but that's all you need at this point, even if the Legion Commander and Ursa died, because they've passed that window where the 3 cores are finally starting to show their power.
And really a strong moment indeed for Empire, and it goes to show like how good Ursa is against the Jug, and also King Off now, continually pulling everybody in to the fray. They're probably, do they have another smoke ready? It doesn't look like it. They have, yeah, they don't have one yet, so I guess that they're just spoiling for another fight. DD Rune up top might get picked up as well. It is on the courier brought out, so they're going to go in and contest Roshan. Oh, Dendi? Do they get him? Jump forward, crush onto him. No counterplay there at all. They do find Aloha Dance, but Vacuum Wall onto 2. Not sure if it's enough. They actually split the Omni Slash with the Ancients, and Ghostic not able to get off the second one. The Epicenter turnaround. Oh god, Empire. It didn't work out so well that time. Hexed up. They're going to bring G down. Triple kill for General. Oh my god, he did a lot of damage in that fight. With the Epicenter on top too.
So, in Game 2, I said that high ground on the Dire Ancients is typically a very, very poor place to start a fight if you're Radiant. But in Game 2, they also had a 7,500 net worth lead. This game, Radiant had a 3,000 net worth lead. That's not enough. Even though you had a fresh BKB completed on Slardar, it's still not enough. You can't feel confident going in for a fight like that, but Empire overplaying the hand, and they got punished heavily for it. Na'Vi not losing a single hero in that engagement. I mean, except for the Bat Rider.
That's one of those things too, where it's like, you know, Na'Vi, they get really badly beat down in the last team fight. It goes heavily into Empire's favor, and then ready to take a second one. You know, maybe like you're saying, a little bit off the positioning, but it does feel like now they're going back and forth into it. Like, I don't know if this is necessarily mistakes that are being made or just good decisions, but I do have to say that Empire moving into that high ground position again was maybe a little bit questionable.
Empire had this high aggression going on from like the first 25 minutes of the game because it was necessary. You have to play aggressive if you have this kind of lineup, because if you fall behind as Empire, you're going to stay behind. At this point, Empire has a foothold in this game. All of their cores are okay. They don't need to play catch up on anyone. So as a result, there's no reason to play this aggressive if it's not necessary. They could have stalled out around the Rosh. It's an Ursa. Who cares? You're going to get the Rosh eventually. And if Na'Vi gets the Rosh, that's fine. You probably took like 2 towers. Ursa does not need a Rosh this urgently if you're Empire.
Well, we'll see if Empire now are going to be able to right the wrongs. I mean, and this is, I guess, one other thing that we're seeing now. Aloha Dance going back, finishing his BKB. That was a huge part of why Na'Vi were able to win that last engagement. Was just a couple of really well-timed spells, the vacuum wall with the epicenter, and everybody having to go through it. But we'll see where they opt to go. As far as Ditya is concerned, what's his main role going to be in this fight? Does he want to just keep on stacking up stats and go for something nutso like a Scotty, or does he go like the defusal route at this point?
Assuming that he's able to stay safe, and like in all the past fights that we've seen, Ditya has not gotten initiated on. Right. It's always been either the Bat Rider or the Rasta or the Darkseer. Ditya has been able to avoid initiation. So assuming he's able to continue keeping up whatever positioning he's been doing, which I don't know what he's been doing, but it's been working out fine, then he's able to go more aggressive with damage. And he has this Manta style completed, which really there aren't very many things worth purging off besides amp damage. He pretty much got it just for that and I guess Mana Leak, but Blade Fury can take care of that. he can continue building damage and just trying to kill Empire before they can kill him. Wards get dropped.
Oh,
Bat
Dendy
Rider
has a
going
haste
long
turn
way
as well.
around.
Gets Flame Break pushed back for the moment. Blinding Light was there, and they immediately take off the lasso. Really unfortunate. So Blinding Light in combination with the press the attack, and that just stops the fight in its tracks. That's too bad. It was a haste turn used as well for Bat Rider. That would have been great. And they clean up the wards as well.
It would have been great, but sometimes you really need to, like, you get mentally hyped up whenever you have a haste turn as a Bat Rider like that, but had Na'Vi played that conservatively, they would have been able to take the tier 3 tower. Like, it was taken down to a quarter HP pretty much exclusively by the Serpent Wards, and Juggernaut had an Aegis. He could have just gone Blade Fury and just damaged it, but oh man.
Top lane in the
Dendy.
jungle, they found one, and oh man, gone again. Dendy having a rough one so far this game. He's the lowest net worth on his team. When was the last time that happened for Na'Vi? Wow.
This is what he gets. He's getting initiated on every single fight. He's Empire doing the right call, because as long as they get the initiation that they want, Na'Vi can't really come back out of the fight. And in that one high ground, I guess, Dire Ancients fight, Empire didn't get the initiation that they wanted. Dendy got the initiation that he wanted by, I guess, being initiated on.
Yep.
It's all coming down to positioning right now and vision. And right now, Na'Vi doesn't really have the best vision. I really wish they just slow pushed this this bot tier 3 tower, as opposed to going in crazy like with the haste-driven Bat Rider. Hopefully it won't cost them. Hopefully they can do it again, because they still have quite a bit of time left on this Aegis on Ditya.
Yeah. Oh, and it's tough too, because like now you sort of wonder, he still is going to fulfill his role of being that Bat Rider initiator. The problem is that those initiations, like we saw down bottom, and you know, like we've seen at various other points, haven't really been on point. Everybody has a bad game, but this is certainly one of the worst ones that I've seen so far out of Dendy. A little unfortunate for him, but we'll see how they respond. They're pushing the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and it feels like Ditya is ready to make use of this Aegis, but Empire don't want to take them up on it.
Typically, I would prefer this trade-off for the Dire team, but since Roche is so important, oh wow, straight to bot lane.
Yeah, they don't even care. They're going to push back Mana Leak art style, and he's going to take a lot of damage from that one. Completely out of mana at this point, but they do take down the tier 3 tower. Meanwhile, BKB popped as well as the stun, chasing down, and that's the Aegis expired. Ditya needs to get out of there. They've already won the duel for the Legion. That's 3 BKB pop for Empire, and they aren't going to be able to find anything else off the back of it. With tier 3 down, I think that's kind of okay for Na'Vi. I think they're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. They got the tier 2 mid and they got the tier 3. Really smart move. I thought that they were just going to retreat after they took that tier 2 because Aegis was timing down, but man, really smart plan to go for the bot tier 3 after they broke backdoor protection mid. And they get that tower. They do half damage on the range Drax. So hopefully they can just continue this hit and run tactic rather than committing to a fight like they were trying to do for their first high ground push.
Well, in a position where they still can win off the back of this, and take a look, a very even exchange net worth-wise experience into the favor of Empire. As the game gets later, you've talked about this tri-core style that you got coming out from Empire. How worried are you going to be at this point for Na'Vi? Like, are they still in a position where they can win, or is that timing starting to shrink up a little bit though?
Every time I think the timing is shrinking down, somehow Na'Vi, in classic Na'Vi fashion, manages to make it look like they were in control the whole time. Like, I don't think the game should be as close as it is, all things considered. Like, Empire has had a net worth lead and an experience lead for like the past 15 minutes or so, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like the way that Na'Vi is playing, they're just toying with Empire. I would say that the window is shrinking because now Ursa has his BKB completed, She has his BKB completed, Sargar has his BKB completed. Now they're going in for a smoke, but they're not going to find anyone on Na'Vi. Might try to go for a long loop around, but there's no way.
It's like the smoke yin-yang. They head off in opposite directions, then they end up circling around. It looks like there might be some pings, realizing where Empire is, but
They see an Ether Shock on mid.
Yeah, Firefly, it might run out by this point. They jump forward onto 2, but the vacuum onto 2 as well. They got the BKBs off in time, and the Omni Slash comes out. They also have the lasso onto the Legion, out of the fight for the moment. Ghost Stick dropped down low, but not dead as of yet, and they lost the Jug. All right, Shadow Shaman gone, Jug gone, Dendy gone. Na'Vi potentially going to get knocked out of this one as they chase down the Darkseer as well. Aloha Dance with a double kill. The lone hero, lone player left alive is Seneko, desperately trying to push out these lanes, but man, I think that Empire are getting ready to start pushing this.
I don't know why they went for the... I mean, like, okay, so if you look at Na'Vi Vision right now, they have one ward on the Radiant Ancients. They have one ward right in the Tier 3, Tier 2 top lane area. The only lane that they don't have vision on is the entire bottom quadrant of the map. Somehow they felt confident that, okay, we didn't find anyone in vision. Let's just go to the mid lane. I'm sure that area is safe. It wasn't. Empire, that was the only area that Na'Vi hadn't scouted out, and Empire just immediately blew up the Rasta, and this is what I said, it all comes down to positioning and vision, and Empire had all the cards to go in. It was a bit of a misplay by Na'Vi. I don't know why they felt confident trying to push out the mid lane from that angle. It's not their territory, it's Empire's territory.
Well, a little bit of a... I mean, and this is the thing, too, is that even in game number 1, when Na'Vi were really killing it and looking great, there were moments where it was like, oh, that was a little bit of a strange engagement. And I do kind of wonder now if maybe this is really going to start snowballing out of control. 5,000 net worth lead and, well, 14,000 experience. All right.
What a timing. Last time, Na'Vi was able to win a fight in the pit. Let's see if they can replicate that performance. Really, the only ult they're missing is Roster Wars, and that'll be up in 5 seconds.
All right, ready to go. BKB jump forward. There's the duel. Immediately going to pull the Jug out of the fight, but Dendy, really good counter initiation play. Doesn't quite get him up to the high ground, though, and so far, the only person that's about to go down is going to be the Darkseer, able to force staff away from the Omni Slash. Ghost Stick surviving as well. That is the Shadow Shaman gone, trying to throw out as much of those impetus shots as possible. Kills off the healing ward as well, so they lose the Shaman, but end up not losing anybody themselves. Empire win that one, I'd say. And now, ready to take Roshan. Man, Ursa with the press the attack. That is scary as all hell.
I have no idea how only one hero managed to die out of all that chaos. Ursa was kind of getting kited around by this Darkseer quite a bit. Aloha Dance was very interested in trying to kill, or I guess maybe get a lucky bash onto the Darkseer before he surged out. He managed to get out, but I guess Empire was more interested in the Roche anyway. They just wanted to make sure that they didn't completely botch a fight in the pit, and I guess winning a fight is one way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, man. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, every time one of these engagements goes on, it's more damage in towards G. He becomes stronger. Aloha Dance, it becomes stronger because the rest of his cores are going to be able to more efficiently control the rest of Na'Vi. Man, they really need to make some type of a movement out across the map and, find a way to get up and push a high ground. But now with Ags on Keeper of the Light as well, this is looking insane.
Ag being completed makes a big difference. So far, you've been seeing Empire is more interested in taking fights as opposed to taking towers. Last tower we saw taken was the Tier 2 bot, and that was right when Na'Vi went for their Tier 3 bot. And so since then, Empire has said, okay, we can farm out, we can wait for the next Aegis, and then we can go back to pushing towers. And I guess another big portion of that recipe was making sure that Ag Coddle was completed, because even though it's nighttime right now, it will be daytime very soon, and then they will have everything. They will have the vision from that Ag vision, and they will have the positioning as well, because with all these blink daggers, all the towers taken, and all the vision from Na'Vi shrinking away, because I wouldn't be surprised if Coddle picks up oh, he does have a gem. Okay, yeah. So Na'Vi is going to be hemmed into their base very heavily.
I mean, they've got some good wards here very aggressively. Another one up here on their high ground. So they've got some amount of vision that if they could take advantage of it here, it would be very strong for them. And it looks like, well, no smokes yet. I don't think that they have any on them or in the stash. Yeah, still 3 minutes away. So that's going to cause some problems for Empire, at least to get aggressive until that daytime does come. But it doesn't look like Na'Vi are really going to be in a position where they can take advantage either. So rough one indeed, and probably going to stick around for a little bit and continue farming, at least until, you know, Smoke and Daytime start switching things up.
And Ditcher completed the Vanguard. He's working his way to this Abyssal Blade. It's a good middle ground between damage dealing and tanking up. You had suggested the possibility of a Scotty. I suppose that the damage block is relatively good against Empire's draft right now. It's mostly physical damage coming out from Slardar, Legion Commander, and the Ursa, of course. But I'm questioning if Ditcher can out-damage Empire's cores at this point. Like, he has the Diffusal Blade and the Manta, only 2 points in his Blade Dance crit, which I don't think I've ever seen a skill build from a Juggernaut like this. I don't really know why he would go for only 2 points in the Blade Dance, especially if he's the only damage-dealing core on Na'Vi.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe he needs to tank up. Maybe he does need those stats.
Well, maybe now that he's got his Vanguard completed too, he'll feel more confident putting those into there, but definitely a little bit of a different one. Not what you would completely expect. But it's certainly not a mistake either, at least as far as him intentionally doing this. Like, there's no way that by level 17 you haven't at least thought, like, oh, maybe I should put some more points of Blade Dance.
Yeah, I forgot about that spell.
Like,
no,
obviously,
even in the laning phase, we only saw him. He had like 3 points in Blade Fury and 0 points in anything else. I assumed he was holding on to the healing ward. That wasn't the case. It turns out he was just leveling stats. So
yeah,
he knows what he's doing. We'll see if it's the right call.
Definitely. Well, now it's Daytime, and looks like Slardar is going to head back to push out the creep wave while the assault continues toward the Tiers 1 tower in the mid lane. And Aloha Dance with the Aegis, feeling very comfortable pressuring this one out.
Yeah, and Aloha Dance has a Abyssal of his own completed as well, so whoever gets the jump this next fight, it may be game. Well, okay, if Empire gets the jump, it may be game for them. If Na'Vi gets the jump, they're on life support still.
Not a great way to stop this. They're going to flame break, but well, with that heal coming through, it does feel like it's going to be a tough one to really stop this. I mean, and the other thing is that Slardar can just get recalled in at any point, so I think they might want to start moving towards that route. But I do like the Jug continually pressing out this bottom lane. You've got to at least apply some pressure, so Empire just can't continually spam out waves and stuff at your tower.
Yeah, the tri-core lineup, it needs all 3 cores to pull it off, because one of them's going to be initiating on one target and like the back lines, and then the other one's going to be taking care of the Juggernaut, and then the third one will be following up on Slardar's initiation, and you need all 3 of them if you expect to win a team fight.
Well, here we go now. Or not. I thought Empire were going to try and move for it, but nope. With Aegis gone, there's still cheese on Aloha Dance, so I mean, they could try and get aggressive here, but there's always the worry of getting bursted, and I don't know if they really do have to be worried about that. Like, if Batrider catches, as long as Legion can get into range for press the attack, like, Ursa should be able to at least get the ulti off.
Yeah, if Ursa was concerned about getting bursted, he would have gone for an Ag. It's really, he has so much backup that it's not necessary. I still don't know why Empire is playing so safe, but like, they have the late game. They can take this game pretty much.
Oh, and there it is. They found the duel down up in the top lane and trying to bring down that Jug. See you later.
Winner.
Ditcha Ra brought down to death.
Another
nice
18 damage, and G sitting on a cozy 140 damage duel victories.
Yeah. That is absurd. That really, really hurts at this point. And I mean, more importantly than that is, like, you do not want to have to buy. He actually doesn't have buyback. Oh, Jug. Oh, Ditcha Ra. That's 50 seconds. They might be able to push this here.
Yeah, they just might. Only a few more seconds left on Daytime, though, so maybe Na'Vi stalled out long enough, but I don't even think the Coddle is necessary at this point. All you need is the Illuminate for the damage and the Blinding Light spam. Who cares if you can't heal out Aloha Dance? He has a cheese. Who cares if you can't heal out the other targets, because Legion Commander has pressed the attack.
All right, well, looking for a jump now. Dendi could spot out Aloha Dance. They Burrow Strike. Good start, keeping him back, trying to at least not allow him to just hit away at the tower. Flame Break pushing him forward, but the tier 3 is gone. They might have to feel content with just that. And it looks like they are going to back out. Again, the winner of this game is going to have to go on to face off against VP for that one land spot at the DotaPit. So, you know, a lot on the line for both of these teams, particularly for Well, I guess for both of them. I was going to say for Empire, considering they're playing through the open qualifiers, but I think for both of them it's important, definitely.
It's all about, it's for honor for
There you
the
go.
CIS division.
Absolutely. Yeah, these teams have a very storied history against each other. Dendi has a lot of old Empire teammates because they always go to Navi. But anyways, all right. DD on Ursa, still not feeling super comfortable going, I guess. I might just be waiting for the next Aegis. I don't think Empire want to test it.
Next Aegis or next daytime. I think they need that vision of Bad Rider to really play it safe, and Empire's in no rush. They will continue taking away all of Navi's vision. I mean, like, Rasta hasn't really progressed since he completed that Blink Dagger. Artstyle got that Blink Dagger really early on, completed a Aether Lens, which definitely helps. Oh, now actually, Dendi might go in.
Scary moment. Ion Shell on him. They surge up as well, looking for the chase. It looks like
Illuminate
Empire realized
season.
what's going on, and, well, the Illuminate breaks the blink, and that will dissuade Navi from going any further. Shiva's Guard as well. Guardian Greaves popped. And looks like with that, Navi are not going to attempt to go any further.
They reclaim a bit of territory. Dendi does have a gem on him, so they mainly wanted to invade just to make sure that they could rid Radiant team of any vision. There is one cliff ward remaining on the very, very right side of the map of Radiant, which really, it's more of an anti-Tinker ward than it is an anti-Batrider ward. It's only an anti-Batrider ward if you care at the tier 2 sieges, tier 2 defenses, but it still keeps track of some movement of the Dire team, and right now, I think that Empire is just going to wait for the next daytime before they make any more dramatic moves.
Well, Empire set up to try and pressure this out, and with the smoke being used by Empire in just a second, I believe. This is eerily reminiscent of what we saw previously.
Oh boy.
Navi, they have the vision advantage with this Observer Ward here. If smoke breaks, they're going to go into the Roche Pit, and, well, it does break. They realize what's going on. Snako Burrow Strike through onto several. A stun follow-up, able to catch onto 2. That's Snako dead right off the bat, and, well, Vacuum Wall not going to do a whole lot there. It looks like they've been able to bring down 2 of Navi. Navi may be overextending, and Ditchera trying to TP out. Do they get the bash? No, they don't. But nonetheless, with both the, well, Darkseer and the Sand King gone, Empire are going to be able to claim this Aegis.
It was, I feel bad constantly railing on Dendi, but...
Oh, wait, looking for it.
Goes in.
Oh, no. Well, he might. Nope, he's gone. Oh, that hurts.
Okay, so, Bad Rider had dragged Legion Commander up onto the cliff, but she had already activated her BKB. And since Bad Rider is disarmed during the entire lasso, and Firefly can't damage through BKB, G just immediately blinked off, and Lasso basically just kept Legion Commander under control for a few seconds. She immediately entered the fight again, and, well, you can take out one core, like I said, but you need to take out all 3 at 45 minutes in, because Empire just they have too much, and Navi only has a Juggernaut.
And at this point, looking rather rough. Dendi has buyback, but, man, you don't have it on any of the rest of the heroes, so they have to make this next team fight count. They got to defend their base, and, I mean, you've got the MKB now completed on Aloha Dance. This is going to be a very hard hold. Snako, Epicenter might be their avenue to find the turnaround. They're going to start charging it up. Immediately Hex, Vacuum Wall onto several, doing a good bit of damage, but they're already going to end up losing the Shadow Shaman, and with the duel not completing as of yet, they're trying to turn this around and kill off General. They get the stun off after the Greaves. Well, Flame Break again, trying to keep their buddies alive. Aloha Dance, they pop the Ghost Scepter, still going to be able to survive through that, but Ditchera is going to get stunned up and brought down. Wow, last second cheese, really nicely played, and will be able to survive through it. But will they be able to hold their barracks? Another blink forward. They found him again. Ditchera controlled. Hex keeping him at bay for the moment. Vacuum back as well. On to 2. Omni Slash already used. And it looks like Empire are going to be able to keep their cores alive. Can Navi say the same? No. G takes out Dendi. Buyback no longer available. Oh, man. For a second there, he needed 322 gold. And Navi have lost everybody. Barracks gone, and this might just be about it.
Yeah, it might. And really, the fight shouldn't have been that close either. If I could, if any Valve staff were listening, oh, okay, never mind.
Well,
Vacuum into wards.
That is still in some trouble. G does die. Is it enough? They buy back on the Legion Commander. Aloha Dance turning onto them. There's also going to be a pushback, but Aloha Dance very tanky, very survivable. BKB popped. It's a big fat bear. And there we go. Shadow Shaman buying back into the game. Artstyle desperately trying to keep his team in this one, and another Hex comes out. Burrow Strike actually reflected with the Lotus Orb. Disdiar Ra turning on to Ghost Stick, not able to find that kill either. A triple kill for Aloha Dance. He just might keep this one going. Is going to be able to maybe bring down Burrow Strike. Last second, staying alive. No, winner does go as Juggernaut falls, and oh, there's another one going down as they've taken down the Legion Commander. Numerous blinding lights have come out, but Ghost Stick's going to get chased down by General, and with that, a godlike streak. Oh, Aloha Dance never going to stop. Na'Vi at this point, it feels like they're just trying to hold on to whatever thing they can, but Aloha Dance is going to turn on to Seneko. There's another kill with the Yule Scepter. Nope, maybe, possibly. He does go down. A double kill after his triple. I think that makes it a Rampage, even if it is delayed.
That's how the math adds up, at least.
Ghost Scepter, I mean, he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't care. Abyssal Blade's back up for him now. Could turn on to General. Needs to wait. Hexed again. And Dendi might finally find the kill. He turns on to Dendi. Get over here. Oh, God, that hurts. That's so frustrating. And, well, we'll finally be brought down. 1,700 gold into the Darkseer's coffers. But
my boy General trying to pad his pad his stats at the very end. Artstyle, on the other hand, he might add another D to his KDA ratio right now because you can't defend against Megas as a Shaman. You can't defend against Megas as Na'Vi. And really, so the point I was going to make like 5 minutes ago is that if I can make a bug request to Valve, they fixed how creeps would delay spawning by a few seconds. Like if it's 40 minutes in, the creeps won't spawn until like 40 and 5 seconds. Daytime is still delayed, and that initial fight, the initial hold by Na'Vi, it was at like 5:08, and it was still nighttime. That's the only reason that the fight was as close as it was, because there was no reason why Na'Vi should be able to hold that way. And I mean, they tried, and I respect so much Na'Vi for never giving up. It's it takes emotional fortitude to say, you know, we're down Megas, we only have one core, but goddamn it all, we're still gonna fight, and they're fighting.
absolutely. Oh, and I mean, your Darkseer is still the highest net worth in the game. BKB pops. All right, they turn onto him, and Darkseer's punching away at this Legion Commander. I don't think it's going to be enough damage. They get a really good stun coming out from Ghost Stick. Another blinding light with the Omni Slash going to work. They might be able to bring down one here, and, well, another huge crush, though, comes in from Ghost Stick, and that might just be about it. Epicenter not doing nearly enough damage, and GG finally is going to be called as Empire take the game 2-1 versus Na'Vi. 81 kills in 52 minutes. Thank you very much.
I'm giving MVP of that last game to Ghost Stick Starter for sure. That was the only reason that Empire was able to stall out for as long as they did is because Ghost Stick was just doing so much work on the starter. The crushes, early game, mid game, actually, a full 10 on supporting as a starter. Yeah, sure, he'll take that. Well played by Empire, and they're going to advance into DotaPit qualifiers.
Absolutely. Great stuff indeed. And yeah, the Slardar at various points was just making those huge crushes. To me, one of the game-defining fights was that one in the Radiant jungle where he was hitting like 3 or 4-man crushes continuously, and it felt like Empire just had a little bit better map awareness, movement around, and knew when they were stronger and were able to take it. But nonetheless, they are going to move on and will face off against VP for that single spot in from the CIS region. Tsunami, thank you so much for joining me at the last second. Any final thoughts about these two teams? I mean, do we see Coddle Mask of Madness every game now? Is that the new build?
Of course, Kingar is a meta-defining player. Everyone knows that. No, it was well played by Empire. I have high hopes for them going into these Boston Open qualifiers. I think they showed a lot of coordination. They showed a lot of. I wasn't sold on the tri-core strategy in Game 1, but they managed to fix the flaws in Game 3, and they pull out a solid victory.
All right, well, thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Absolute pleasure casting for y'all. Continue to follow DotaPit as it finishes off these last couple of qualifiers before we get ready for the Boston Major qualifiers. Another one of those lands, you know, you take a look at that execration invite, you start to think, oh, maybe a couple of these tournaments matter for how Valve decides who ends up going to those. So stick around, everybody. I think that we are going to run a couple of ads, but thank you again one last time, and last word before we sign out here.
Yeah, next time King R, I would like to see a 4th Mask of Madness. I think that's the game changer.
Absolutely. So thank you guys again, and we will see you guys next time.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.